This video is brought to you by Cooler Master Mobile, featuring the Jazz Pro notebook stand. Check it out at mobile.coolermaster-usa.com. Welcome to my unboxing and first look at the Acer Iconia W700 tablet. Now, unlike most of the tablets we've seen in the last few years, actually, this is not an ARM-based design or an iPad or anything that requires a special operating system to run. This is an Intel-based, so that is an x86-based tablet that comes in at a pretty high price point, although when you compare it to something like, a 64 gig iPad, honestly, it's not that unreasonable. It's a little under $1,000, but has the ability to run a full-blown Windows 8 operating system with all of the fixins. And it looks like this is an eval unit, so the seals are already broken, but why don't we do a quick run through of the specs before we get started. So Windows 8 64-bit, Intel Core i5 3317U, so it's a 1.6 gigahertz or 1.7 gigahertz rather CPU that turbos up to 2.6 gigahertz. It's an 11.6-inch multi-touch full HD display. It comes with 4 gigs of memory, 128 gig SSD, which I think is pretty cool. It also has a it's in my notes somewhere, whatever, I can't find it. Something milliamp hour battery that's basically good for 6 hours of fairly heavy use or as much as 9 hours of fairly light use, sort of not counting any standby time. So there's a variety of different configurations. It's available with different amounts of, or different sizes of drive, and it's available with different accessories and all that kind of stuff. But the config that we have comes with a keyboard dock. So this is what makes it so Acer feels they are bridging the gap between tablet and notebook, because the power is somewhere in between a tablet and a notebook with a Core i7, but not a particular, or rather a Core i5, but not a particularly fast one. And the form factor is somewhere between a tablet and a notebook, much like a Microsoft Surface Pro, just because it is a little bit on the thicker side. So it comes with a faux leather carrying case that, there we go, it can, go away. Take that off. That has a place to put the tablet inside it here that's got kind of a plastic backing to protect it, and then has, this is actually quite nice, has a keyboard, a full keyboard that you can then prop the tablet up in, so just like that. So let's go ahead and pull the tablet out and see how she looks. So it's a little bit on the thicker side compared to, again, your iPad or your Asus Transformer or any kind of ARM-based design, but that's because it has to accommodate the cooling needed for an Intel, basically what amounts to an Ultrabook processor. So it's hard to get the form factor much slimmer than what they've done here. So you can see there's 2 vents down here on the bottom, as well as an orientation lock. Oh, okay, is that an orientation lock button or is that the power button? Guess we'll find out in a moment here. On the side here, we've got, oh no, that's power. Volume rocker, as well as a headphone microphone jack. On the bottom, you've got 2 speakers, so stereo speakers on the bottom. The tablet is meant to be used in portrait, or rather in landscape mode. And then on the other side, we find DC power in, USB 3, which is one of the really nice things about these Windows 8 tablets, or, well, really any tablet that has USB 3 is nice to have USB 3 on. And finally, we've got micro HDMI out, which actually allows you to use it as a notebook computer if you just kind of plug it into a dock as well as a USB 3 hub. So, and then you can use micro HDMI to output to any desktop monitor. So in terms of included accessories, we've got a power adapter, which looks a little something like that. There you go, you can have a look at that. There's an iPhone size comparison for you. Then we've got the power cord that goes with that. We've also got a USB charging cable. So a USB charging cable looks a little something like that. It just uses standard, or rather, no, that's a data transfer cable. So that's micro USB for data transfer. Here is our power cord. All right. Next up, we've got, this is handy. So they actually include a micro HDMI to VGA adapter. So if you're going to use this for presentations or whatever else on the road, they include that. So you have not only digital output, but also analog output from the tablet itself. More accessories. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here. I am really running out of space pretty quickly, so we're gonna ditch some of these things. And yay, we have more space. So it comes with a cleaning cloth. There you go, nice little white microfiber cleaning cloth. A bunch of DVDs, although I don't know where they're expecting you to put those. It does not have an optical bay, in case you guys are wondering. International Traveler's Warranty is a nice thing to have because if you move or whatever else, there are devices where your warranty does not come with you, which I've always thought is bizarre, and I'm glad to see that trend really turning around. All right, more components here. Now, if there's any complaints that I've seen about this particular tablet, it's that compared to the build quality of the tablet itself, the dock is a little bit less than equally satisfactory compared to that. I mean, I've had people come out as far as to say the build quality of the dock is very disappointing compared to the tablet. So this is plastic. This piece slides into presumably here and allows you to dock the tablet like this, so you could actually use the unit as a secondary monitor. Here, actually, I can lift this up. You could use the unit as a secondary monitor. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You have it upside down.
All right, so we figured out the dock stand. So yeah, it's a little bit not quite up to the same standard of build quality as the tablet itself, although this is as much a compliment for the tablet as it is sort of a knock against the stand here. So it can be configured in portrait like this, just like that, or it can be configured in landscape mode like this. There you go. Whoop, whoop. Okay, well, I didn't get it in that time, so there, it should go in like that. And then it can sit in landscape mode like that. There you go, that's how it looks like from the back. Yeah, like it's really not the best thing in the world ever, but the tablet itself is absolutely gorgeous. So we're just gonna show how it fits in here just once. And so you kind of put it in like that. There's little rubber pieces here, or soft plastic pieces that keep it from getting scratched as you plug it in. And this actually gives you a little bit more in terms of I/O. So there's your vents on the top, so you're still going to get all the cooling you need. And it expands that single USB 3 to 3 USB 3 ports, so you can actually plug in all the peripherals you need and all that. It also adds a pass-through for the power in. And last but not least, you still have access to your micro HDMI, so you're still going to be able to use it as like a dual monitor setup, or you could even just tuck it away in the corner and just use a full desktop keyboard and mouse and all that good stuff, which is a really nice thing. The only thing that I would have liked to see added would be wired LAN, as like with an adapter chipset, USB 3 to wired LAN in here. That way you really have more like a desktop experience. So let's go ahead and pull it out of that and put it into the travel case that also comes with this particular setup. So there we go. It's not quite the same level of elegance as something like Microsoft's Touch keyboard or Type keyboard, but what it does do is it does actually protect the unit in a meaningful way. So around the edges, you've got a soft rubber that comes around all of the aluminum edges and actually fits quite snugly, which makes sense because it's designed just for this device and this device only. And that was the worst German accent anyone's ever heard ever, but you know, whatever. You guys don't watch this show for my German accent, I'm sure. So there you go. So you can see what that looks like. It folds down on top. So this is Gorilla Glass 2, so I wouldn't worry too much about damaging it one way or the other, but it folds down onto, I'm just gonna turn the screen back on there, 6 little rubber pads that are on the keyboard itself, so that it's not just gonna mash itself up against, this is plastic, so I probably wouldn't be likely to scratch it anyway, but it's not gonna mash itself up against the keyboard and leave those imprints on the screen that you've seen time and time again with various notebooks. In terms of the thickness, once you get it covered in the faux leather casing as well as the plastic housing, you've got a size here that looks sort of, what are we at? We're at about triple the thickness of something like an iPhone. And honestly, compared to something like an S7, which you guys have probably seen if you've been watching my live streams, because I usually put it in front of me these days. So an S7 is actually not that much bigger. See, like that. So it's a 13 point something inch model, 13.3 inch, but it's actually quite a bit thinner. So an Ultrabook, if you don't need that tablet form factor, sometimes may end up being a better solution for you, because they do usually end up being a little bit more powerful, whereas that one's a little bit more expensive. So I guess it's a wide variety of trade-offs. But anyway, that's what it looks like in more like a notebook configuration. The screen itself goes up to let me just have a look here. There we go. Screen brightness. Yay. Nice bright screen. So it's very, very vibrant. It uses an IPS panel, so the viewing angles are outstanding. I mean, this is something that we've kind of come to expect from tablets now, but I'm really glad that that whole trend of sort of cheap tablets with cheap panels turned around. Can you see the viewing angle pretty well there, or you can? I can't.
I was waving at myself.
You were waving at yourself. Oh, okay. Well, okay, well, I wasn't watching him do that. The keyboard itself has a bilingual layout because this is a Canadian model, but not all of them will have that, so that's going to vary depending on the territory that you're operating within. And I'm just going to switch back to my Word document where I had my notes for myself so I can see if there's anything else I need to tell you about this guy. So let's make this more of a summary than anything else. It's got a 720p front camera, a 1080p rear camera, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi N, all that stuff that you've come to expect. It comes with a dock, it comes with sort of the accessories that you really, really need out of the box. Although I think probably the most exceptional thing about it is, much like the S7, this is a new Acer in terms of build quality because, I mean, when I got my hands on the S7, I'd seen pictures and I knew that it was supposed to be really nice, but I still wasn't quite expecting what ended up getting delivered to me. So there's absolutely no flex in it. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can see there's only one gap in the solid aluminum body here. So I'm gonna try and show that to the camera. And that's up in this top strip right here, which I'm assuming is something to do with antenna reception because we've seen a few tablets that have solid metal backings that have ended up with reception issues on their wireless interfaces. You get a 1080p screen, which is really, really nice in a small form factor like this. But one of the challenges is that when you're not using the, whoopsie daisies, when you're not using the modern UI, you may find yourself in a situation where it's not really that easy to read text or that easy to use it unless you blow things up when you're in more like the classic interface. One thing that I should probably mention is if you do a 5-finger thing like this, you get into Acer's little launcher here where you can store some favorite apps, including their cloud document storage, backup manager. Also shows you like your device settings and all that cool stuff. Remember, that's not the only way to access that stuff. You can also swipe in from the side. And I forgot this before, but it was 350 nit brightness on the IPS screen, so that's actually pretty outstanding. And I think that pretty much covers it. Thank you for checking out this unboxing and first look at the Acer Iconia W700. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.